A little story to ease the mind. You'll find it's good in slow time. This I call The Edge. It was very late at night, perhaps early morning, freezing cold. I was lightly dressed in a t-shirt and thin tracksuit pants, no shoes. I was tightly bound up by the hands and feet, travelling slowly in a boot of a car over a rough, unmade road. Suddenly, the car came to an abrupt halt. I could hear the muffled voices from the occupants from the car. Then three or four doors opened. The boot swung open and moonlight appeared. Several arms and hands moved towards me and tightly clasped my clothes. I was lifted out of the boot, off the car, and thrown onto the hard slate surface. I could hear the sounds of seagulls squawking, flying to and fro, above a large cliff face. The sounds of crashing waves echoed up from the depths of the crevice as they pounded the rocky surf tormented shoreline. Suddenly I was grabbed by the leg, and I was being dragged towards the edge. My only resistance was to dig my fingernails into the slate rock. The pain was immense as the slate drove itself deep under my nails. My efforts were in vain. As I was getting closer and closer to the edge, the noise of the water crashing under the rocks far below was getting louder and louder. So too the cry of the seagulls. I was only a short couple of lengths from the edge now, and then all of a sudden, with one big pull from the leg, I was hurtling through the air, falling ever downward to the jagged rocks below. I was spiralling, completely out of control, like a rag doll, just waiting for the first contact to be made with the rocks below. I plunged headfirst into the salty water, avoiding the rocks. As my timing was well guessed, I had hit a wave coming into the shoreline, which had lifted me up enough to avoid hitting the rocks. Then, with enormous force, I was being dragged out to sea. I started to make contact with the razor sharp oyster rocks as I flew past them at an immense speed, slicing every piece of exposed skin on me. I managed to get myself up onto a less violent part of the waterway and gained balance for the first time. Climbing and hobbling over the rocks, I managed to cut myself free from the ropes that I was bonded with. I sat at the water's edge, collecting my thoughts and thanking myself that I survived, when suddenly an object appeared from the water. It was the shape of a slim female. She startled me in the moonlight. What was this? She poked to me softly and said, "Don't be afraid. I can help heal your wounds, for I am born of the sea, and I'm a lady of the deep, for I am what I am. They call me a mermaid. However, I am very old now, and I have nearly lost all my vision." I was amazed and dazed. Was I falling in and out of consciousness? Was this really happening to me? She took my t-shirt off, then my tracksuit pants. As she moved her hands down my groin, she exclaimed, "Wow! How you have the biggest, fattest, longest one I've ever laid my hands on." I said to her, "You're pulling my leg, just like I've been pulling yours." Thank you. The end.